right, rugby fans, welcome back for another deep dive. And today we're looking at the Autumn Nations series.
Oh, yeah.
And specifically a match report and a bunch of fan reactions to what turned out to be a surprisingly close game between the All Blacks and Italy.
Oh, yeah, this is a close one.
It was a close one. Italy really pushed the All Blacks to their limit. And everyone's trying to figure out, like, what happened.
Yeah, what happened to the All Blacks?
So we're gonna unpack this. We've got a greasy pitch, double shoulder tackles,
Wow.
a near upset, and a coach admitting his team's mindset was slightly off.
Oh, this is juicy.
This is going to be fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so to set the scene, this match report is from Rugby Pass. It's titled,
Okay.
They Smelt It. Scott Robertson says Italy sensed All Blacks' vulnerability.
They smelt it. What does that even mean?
I know, right?
Oh.
So Italy came out of the gates strong in this one.
Yeah, they did.
They took an early lead, 6-3.
Yep.
They were disrupting the All Blacks line out, and they were winning those ruck battles.
They were everywhere.
I mean, they were all over them. And remember, Italy was looking for redemption
Right.
after their Rugby World Cup loss to the All Blacks.
They had a score.
They had this one circled on their calendar for sure.
Yeah, they did.
And they really had a clear game plan to, like, try to exploit any weakness they could find.
Exactly.
And I think that's where that quote comes in.
Yeah.
Scott Robertson, the All Blacks coach, he said that Italy could smell the All Blacks' vulnerability.
What do you think he meant by that?
Well,
Look, what is that?
I think it speaks to that psychological side of the game.
Right.
Like, Italy sensed a hesitation. They sensed, like, maybe a lack
of that swagger.
that usual All Black swagger. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they just pounced on it.
They were ready to capitalize on any little mistake.
Totally. And, they forced the All Blacks to fight their way back into this game, which, to their credit, they did.
Well, they're the All Blacks.
They're the All Blacks. But it wasn't easy.
No, it wasn't.
It really wasn't. The All Blacks had to rely on their scrum to gain control.
Yeah.
They actually won 7 penalties from scrums.
Wow.
Just shows you the power of that set piece.
Yeah, they really used that to their advantage.
Yeah, they used it to slow down Italy's momentum, control the territory, and ultimately build some pressure.
Right.
And, of course, you can't forget that classic All Blacks late surge to snatch the win.
Of course, never count them out.
Never count them out. They might have been rattled, but they know how to close out a game.
They do.
So, yeah, we've got a team in transition under a new coach, a fired-up Italian side, hungry for an upset, and a coach admitting his team's mindset was
slightly off.
Slightly off. This was not just any ordinary rugby match.
No, it was not.
This was something special.
Something else.
All right, so.
Yeah. You have to remember, this wasn't a fluke by Italy.
Right.
Like, this Italian side is the real deal. They beat Wales. They beat Scotland in the last Six Nations.
Yeah.
Like, they're a threat.
They're not messing around.
To anyone.
No, they are not.
Yeah.
They're playing with so much confidence. Okay, speaking of intensity.
Yeah.
Let's get into these fan reactions.
Right.
Because things got pretty heated in the comments section.
I bet they did.
Oh, yeah. People were fired up. Some fans were, like, genuinely concerned about the All Blacks.
Right.
They were pointing to those moments of inconsistency.
Yeah, those late game fades.
Yeah, especially those late game fades.
Yeah.
As signs of a deeper problem.
I mean, can you blame
No. I mean, one comment that really stood out to me said,
them? What was it?
This isn't the All Blacks team we're used to seeing. They seem hesitant, almost afraid to make mistakes.
I mean,
which I think kind of echoes what we were saying earlier about that.
Yeah, that vulnerability.
That vulnerability, yeah.
That Italy was able to just pounce on.
Exactly. And then some fans took it even further.
Oh, really?
They were questioning Robertson's coaching.
Oh, the armchair coaches coming?
Oh, yeah. Like full-on armchair coaching happening.
Yeah.
They were questioning his strategies, his selection choices.
Of course.
Like one fan wrote, bringing on players' name that late in the game was a tactical blunder. He should have been on much earlier.
Oh, yeah, I saw that one too.
It's like, it wouldn't be a true rugby debate without some armchair coaching.
Oh, absolutely gotta have that.
But, it wasn't all doom and gloom.
Okay, good.
There were plenty of fans defending the All Blacks. They were emphasizing that it's still early in Robertson's tenure.
Yeah, he's still finding his feet.
Exactly.
With the team.
And that the team is making progress.
Right. They're not going to transform overnight.
Right. One fan said, we can't expect the All Blacks to be perfect every time they step onto the field. They're human, they make mistakes, and they're going through a period of adjustment. Let's give them some time to find their rhythm.
That's fair.
Yeah. And it's true. Like, Even the greatest teams in history go through these phases
They do.
of rebuilding and evolution.
Is part of the process.
Yeah, so if we zoom out a bit
Okay.
and look at the bigger picture,
Yeah.
the broader rugby landscape,
Mm-hmm.
what does this match tell us about the state of the game?
Well, for me, it just confirms what we've been seeing over the past few years.
What's that?
That gap between the so-called Tier 1 nations,
Yeah.
it's shrinking.
It is getting smaller.
Teams like Italy, Argentina, Japan, they're raising their game.
Yeah.
They're challenging the traditional powerhouses.
It's making international rugby so much more unpredictable.
Oh, absolutely.
And exciting.
So exciting.
Don't you think?
Yeah.
Gone are the days when you could just pencil in an All Blacks victory.
Right, like it's not a guaranteed win anymore.
Every time.
Yeah.
It's a new era.
It is.
And I think that creates so much drama and opportunity for these underdog stories.
Absolutely.
Like, can you imagine if Italy had actually pulled off the upset
Oh my gosh.
against the All Blacks?
The rugby world would have exploded.
I know.
It would have been chaos.
Would have been unbelievable.
Yeah.
But even though they didn't win, they proved that anything is possible in modern rugby.
Right.
Like, no team is invincible.
No team is safe.
So with the 2027 World Cup,
Okay.
just a few years away, what are some of the key storylines
Oh, good question.
that we should be watching?
I think the continued rise of these emerging nations, like we were just talking about,
Yeah.
like Italy's performance is a perfect example.
Yeah.
Like they're not just happy to be there,
Right.
they're coming to win. And I think that puts pressure on those traditional rugby giants.
Yeah. It's a whole new ball game.
It is.
We're also seeing the influence of like different coaching philosophies and playing styles, right?
Yeah.
Teams are experimenting with more expansive attacking rugby.
Yeah, that speed and offloading.
Yeah.
It's really fun to watch.
It is fun to watch.
It is.
And we can't forget about the impact of technology and like the professionalism of the game.
Oh, yeah.
Players are just fitter, stronger, and more tactically aware than ever before.
Absolutely. And they have access to all these resources and data analysis. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's changing the way the game is played.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fascinating time to be a rugby fan.
It really is.
So let's bring it back to the All Blacks, though.
Okay.
Where do they go from here?
Yeah.
How do they respond to this wake-up call from Italy?
Well, they need to find a way to balance those traditional strengths with like this new era of rugby, right? They can't just rely on their forward pack and that set piece dominance anymore.
Right. It's like they need to add some new tools to their toolbox.
Exactly.
Like your forward power. It's like a sledgehammer.
Yeah.
Which is great, but sometimes you need a scalpel.
You need finesse.
You need finesse for more intricate work.
Exactly. Like look at France and Ireland.
Yeah.
They're blending power and finesse. They keep the defenses guessing.
Yeah. You don't know what's coming next.
You don't know.
And Robertson even hinted at this. You know, he said the team's mindset wasn't quite right.
Yeah.
How do you think this near loss will affect them mentally going forward?
I think it exposed a crack in that armor.
Yeah.
You know, they can be rattled.
Right.
They can doubt themselves.
So how do they regain that psychological edge? Can they just flip a switch?
I don't think so. I think it's a process. You have to acknowledge the weaknesses that were exposed, learn from the mistakes, and rebuild that confidence.
So you're saying the senior players, they need to step up
Yeah.
and lead by example?
Absolutely. Lead by example. Instill that belief in the younger players.
Yeah.
Create a culture of excellence even when they're facing adversity.
Because, you know, this Italy game was a huge wake-up call.
It was.
For the entire rugby world. If Italy can push them to the brink,
yeah,
it just opens up a world of possibility.
What does this mean for the Six Nations?
Exactly.
For the World Cup?
It throws a wrench into all the predictions.
All the predictions.
It's going to be so fun to watch.
So fun.
So after this deep dive,
yeah,
I feel like we're left with more questions than answers.
I think that's a good thing.
Is this the end of the All Blacks' dominance as we know it?
Who knows?
Can they adapt to this new, more competitive rugby landscape?
I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Only time will tell.
But one thing's for sure.
What's that?
We are entering a golden age of rugby.
Yeah, I like that.
Every match is a battle. Every team has a chance.
Yeah.
And the only certainty is that nothing is certain.
I love it. What a way to wrap things up.
I know.
This deep dive has been a wild ride.
It has.
And it's clear that the future of rugby is more exciting and unpredictable than ever.
Couldn't agree more.
Thanks for joining us on this journey.
It's been a pleasure.
And keep those rugby conversations going.
Yeah.
Because this is just the beginning of an incredible new chapter in the sport we all love.
Can't wait to see what happens next.